guys this is still a thing that exists because I don't know, we couldn't fuck up actually recording something for too long. Eventually, we had to like not fuck up, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if you're watching this right as it dropped, I think the Smash DLC Direct should be going on. So go watch that and then come back to this. But otherwise, we've got some hot PU circuit finals action, LTPL stuff. Let me turn up this brightness a bit. Actually, I don't even think the viewers can see that. Anyway, uh, this is gonna be real cool because we're doing the seasonal stuff, but Hajat's really tired, so we'll actually see how it goes.
Yeah, I should be good. I can fake some enthusiasm and energy for about I'll give it an hour before I eventually die. But I mean,
Sure.
we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Okay. So I'll hit the four games from LTPL, the semis week, real quick. We only missed 1 week because there was actually like a week long extension that had no PU. Anyway, Rexus versus Star happened. This was like a pretty interesting matchup because it's Rexus versus Star. But mostly it ended up being Rexus could like kill Star things. Star couldn't kill Rexus things. You kind of just hit buttons and won. Um, Tasker versus TSR happened. This game is pretty interesting, I think. Tasker had a subtoxic Rapidash that was really cool and like obviously messes with TSR's Jellicent. The game mostly came down to TSR just played like really risky early game. Got a lot of things toxic. Got his AV Drampa like 50% dealt to that, so couldn't check anything. And that kind of ended up screwing him over in the late game, and he ended up losing to Trick Room Jellicent. But this was definitely a pretty cool replay. We had me playing Gondra. This was annoying. I had some really flame sets. I had Trick Room Jellicent with Rindo Berry, which should have like absolutely done some shit. I had Superpower Expert Belt Simisear. Um, but then I ended up Fire Blast burning his Lycanroc, which like immediately kind of gave me the game. So none of that shit mattered. I just kind of, oh, I burned you, I won. That was really unfortunate. Um, because like I had flame stuff I wanted to use, but he also might have pulled out shit versus me. It kind of just like immediately handed me the game. And then TJ versus LST. Uh, I know what some people want me to say is that TJ got hacked, but the way I see it, TJ had like a solid matchup, got a really important max roll, uh, played kind of poorly to get to a place where he was like only slightly winning, and then got crit. Like
I can't remember this game. Which game? Which game was this?
LST has like a Turtonator thing, and it's a sub Turtonator thing, and TJ max rolls it with Volt Switch so that it can't do anything. But
Oh
then
yeah,
but
yeah,
then
yeah,
TJ
yeah.
spends most of the game like rock sliding into a Ferroseed and not much happens, and then LST like has a late game crit on TJ's Sensu that I suppose maybe mattered if we knew everything about the sets. So if people say it mattered, like maybe, but this it was just kind of silly. Like I was really surprised when I saw the LST win post. Was like got a bit lucky. Like what? I don't what? Anyway,
Yeah,
this one was a
my
bit silly. I definitely think the standout game was Tasker versus TSR from that week. Definitely the most interesting one to hit.
yeah.
But that's
That
enough
was
of this
gruesome.
fucking
I remember
tour.
that game.
Oh god, yeah. And then the week we missed, there's also the Swish DLC announcement, which like in theory will mean stuff for PU, but realistically like low tier formation is gonna be wacky anyway. So we'll get more shit, and that's all that really means. You know. Anyway,
More broken things. Yeah.
yeah. Oh god. Like Sergio was posting it. If Gabite gets access to Dragon Dance, I actually want that. That'd be super cool. I wish Gabite had
Golos as
access to
well.
Dragon Dance right now in PU because God, we need more boosting sweepers.
Do we? I mean, we do. We do. We do.
I think we do. I think we don't have enough like real win cons. That's my biggest gripe with the meta. Like Lilligant was stupid, but we need something like Lilligant. You know,
Yeah, like Lilligan, except worse.
Lilligant, except like not reliant on sleep because sleep is really stupid and sleep will just like beat things. But like the general concept of that kind of win con, I think would be really good. Anyway,
That's why I ended up using so much Jellison and Mashanos because they could fill that.
exactly. Trick
They
Room
could
is
fill
the
that void.
boosting sweeper of this. What were we talking about again? Some kind of circuit finals? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. What is
I don't know. This looks like a silly stall game. Who even watches stall games? Haha, XD.
I forgot this game existed. No.
You don't have the
Yeah, this game
replays?
was the. Oh, no, I forgot that game existed. Like, I have the replays in front of me. Yeah, but I forgot that game like happened
Yeah, I mean
because I played.
this. I'm gonna be honest. This actually reminds me a lot of last circuit set because there was also like a very long stall game, but that ended up being relatively more interesting. At least in my opinion. I was playing in that one, so I might be a little more biased. But like both circuit finals sets PU's had in our 2 years have had like big stall games that I think were actually pretty cool. Um, it's funny to see how much stall has evolved though, because
Yeah,
this
well, I
looks
mean, it's still
nothing
sort
like.
of yeah, it's still the same concept though from when we did the 5+1 stall with Nasty Block version, except this version is just CB crab
Yeah,
instead of a
yeah,
Nasty Block version.
it's the same concept. Like you've got five stall mons, and then like, what if your last mon was actually scary to the opponent?
Hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, and yeah, crab actually has a really good matchup versus Rexus if you think about it as well. And I expected Rexus to play much more aggressively around like, okay, this is the set, therefore I'm gonna like double around it, but I basically immediately got it wrong, and then the scary thing was dead. Well, that's it. But I mean, in the context of a stall game, that was pretty early.
yeah, like CB Crab has a good strong matchup. It rarely doesn't, to be fair. I mean,
Yeah,
there's not a lot that makes your CB Crab not pretty nice, but it definitely can do some things here. The shifter is also fun as like the haha wacky mon. Do you genuinely think Shiftry is better than Lurantis here?
I don't know, but I do think it's not bad.
I mean, at least you have Altari. Like one of my biggest gripes is like the fat defog shifters that like they'll kind of just lose to Drain Punch Regirock. But you've got Altaria for that, and Altaria can 1v1 Regirock, which so that there's
Yeah,
something.
it's max phys def, so you'll be able to
Oh, this
tank.
one's max Fizdef. Okay, but then they'll just toxic stall you because you won't be able to do
Yeah,
damage.
but I have refresh.
Oh wait, refresh is more PP. I forgot. Yeah, okay, so like
Yeah,
maybe you can handle it. It's still not super fun. Like you'll probably
Regirock is
I would still think
yeah
you'd run out of synthesis.
yeah, but yeah, we have Giga Drain and also thingy. What's it called?
Thingy.
Uh,
You do have
Fizdef
thingy.
Shiftry actually tanks. Fizdef Shiftry tanks quite a lot from. It takes quite little from Drain Punch.
Yeah,
Like I think
yeah.
just in general, it's quite good for
Max
tank.
speed takes a lot, but Fizz Def is like
Yeah,
respectable damage.
yeah.
Well, oh yeah, so the stall game. So we've been going through all the game. I don't think we really want to go through a whole 200. This was 200 plus turns, I believe.
Yeah,
If we
this
go
one
to,
was.
if I just hit go to turn 300, where are we going to be at? It was 204 turns, and spoilers, Hajad wins with Calm Mind Carbink. Um, if you look at the end, it looks like Hajad's a lot like this Caracasa dies to rocks, but early on, like Rexus started out real strong. I think was like the key thing you kind of mentioned, um, and this was like a come from behind stall win. That's kind of what may be related to the last PU circuit because like at least from what I've seen, come from behind stall wins aren't the most common. Um, but for whatever reason, they keep cropping up in major PU tournaments like this last circuit and then Tricking versus Rob Jr. It's just a theme.
Yeah, I think what characterized this game really was that Rexus shouldn't really have ever had a shot at this game, but because I made a few misplays in the beginning, um, he had like a small window of opportunity, and then because the matchup was so good, that small window of opportunity closed. So it was. I didn't deserve to win this game. Like I played pretty poorly, but I mean the matchup was a bit too good for me to lose.
Yeah, I agree. There's some whack stuff for sure. Early on, you get like Crab almost dead just for the Costa chip, which Costa's not exactly the most threatening mon when you've got a Puku in the back.
Yeah, honestly, the play where I ice hammered the Costa for the second time, that was me predicting a double because
Oh,
I thought
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he would try and double the Puku, because it was a pretty good check. He needed to keep up momentum on the crab. Like he couldn't afford crab to like
Mhm. Like
constantly switch out on it.
if you go Puko and you're like getting all these switches for free, he need like he's playing stall with a poor matchup. He has to generate something. So like looking for doubles, definitely
Yeah,
pretty
that's
reasonable there.
yeah, and mind you, I had literally just come back from the club and I was blasting music, so I was
Yeah,
pretty like hyped to make a play. I was basically gassing myself to pull a trigger for the last half an hour, basically on the way home. So
you just hyping
that
yourself
that's
up
the
from the
entire.
club. That's a good strat, dude. What's not
Yeah.
good is joning him for like hours beforehand, but like it definitely worked out. You're
Yeah.
not.
I mean,
I'm
it
not
was
gonna
a
let you
deliberate
forget.
job.
I
It
know
was
it
a
wasn't deliberate.
deliberate Johnny.
I know it wasn't deliberate. Anyway, I've kind of just been letting the game run in the background. Are there any other like major turns you super wanted to hit? I definitely think the letting crab get weakened thing was big, and I know there are other major turns, but I didn't like write down which ones, so we're just
Yeah,
like
there was
speeding
the
through the
one
game.
where Crab dies to HV Fire, I think, or HV Fighting from the cryo. I thought Crab lived because I'm max HV invested. I'm like a weird spread where I'm like 230
Yeah,
speed, 200 max HP, and then like
it's
20 attack.
fast fat band because band is so strong, but then hidden power does 37 to it anyway. Was that like
Yeah,
specifically because he was offensive cryo, or do you think it was a role, or
I think it was because he's offensive cryo. I think
okay?
uh, defensive doesn't kill from that range. So I was like thrown back by that because that was like my opportunity to get some health back on Crab, and then instead of having a healthy Crab, it's a dead Crab.
Yeah, and that
I was like,
makes obviously the game take a lot longer because if you could get kills with crab or even like just wish the crab back up, uh, that's like the fast win con. Now you just kind of got to toxic stall everything and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Although
Now, then it becomes a much more like standard stall versus balance style
mm,
of game after
brief
Crab dies.
brief shower thought that just occurred to me though. What if he just had like the Costa was rocks plus smash? Because then he'd have more rocks PP than your defog PP. Maybe that's the way to beat stall. You just run double rocks. That's definitely not the way to beat
Uh,
stall. That's just a random. That's just a random thought. It
Honestly, Rocks plus Smash Costa isn't even like the worst thing at the
no,
moment, just because of
it's a totally decent set. I'm more thinking in terms of like specifically double rocks to beat stall.
yeah. Oh, double Rocks. Like
Because
you just
that
imagine like
because you have double
Terran.
defog, partially because you want to cover all the rock setters, but partially because you need to have more PP. Uh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he froze the Puku at one point. I totally forgot about that because you don't have the healing move on this team. The one that
I
removes
do.
status. Oh no, you do. You just like you hadn't used it at all. Like Audno got poisoned by Victory Bell like turn two, and you just didn't aromatherapy at all. And I was like, maybe he doesn't have it, and that freeze is gonna be really big. And then no, you just had it. You just were preserving it. I said we didn't want
Yeah.
to go
That.
through the whole game, but we're I'm already on turn 113 over here.
Yeah. The turn where he froze with Yuki was really a like I guess it like a defining point because that meant that I couldn't just go into Shiftry slash Altaria every time he decided to set up Stealth Rocks anymore, and I had to try and like well I had to give him Stealth Rocks at that point, which sucked. Um,
Mm.
but
And at this
I
point, you
managed
can
to
see he's playing
yeah
really carefully to not let a defog happen. He's
he
making
has to
sure
yeah
that you can't go Altaria or Shiftry, and you need that chip. But eventually, like he sludge bombs into Altaria, but then he's gonna go hard Hitmonchan with the Ice Punch, and he's just like keeping the pressure full on here. And then gets the Bloom Doom to kill Audino, and at this point, it did look pretty bad for you. But
yeah I was still pretty confident at that point because I knew that he was going to struggle to kill the rest of the things.
mm,
And yeah, that's basically what it is with Stall. It's like systematically killing off or like chipping the things that can actually kill you. So um, I didn't necessarily need Ordino. It was nice, but partially the reason why I just sent it into Vicky was to scout for something like that.
yeah,
Um,
like
I didn't really need it.
Audino is less useful than Altaria. Audino is the
Oh,
thing that
100%.
you can afford to not have, and he is
Exactly.
very
If he
slowly,
pulled
but
out,
he is still losing
yeah,
his mons.
if he Downpour and I went into Altaria there, the game was over, and
Mhm.
that would have been really bad. So I don't regret making that
Yeah.
sack play.
So we see the point, like he sacks Mudsdale to get rocks up, and then you can just immediately sack Puku to get them off again because you don't need that. Uh, like having the rocks off is more important because at this point it really is like Carbink plus Altaria finishes off the game here. He can't break them, and because the Mudsdale died, because that was the thing that had to be setting Stealth Rock. Victory Bell is like the only thing that can beat the Carbink, and Victory Bell is like a limited health mon. He has to keep switching in. It's gonna run out of Leaf Storm PP if you can bait that too. Like he just doesn't have enough that he can do. And a lot of that is like the Carbink matchup. Pretty solid here, given that of the two checks, Victory Bell is a special attacker that you can calm mind up on enough. And Mudsdale is like the thing he had to let get toxic and keep switching in because that's how you get Stealth Rock. So the rest of the game kind of just plays out as you just going back into Carbink and calm minding over and over and over from what I've got on
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. I could have been more patient in this end game as well, and just like not even risk the Storm crit. But I mean, like I was making a play at that point, and I was like, fuck it, I can be asked.
That's a
But
good that's a good mentality to have during the game. That's
sure, why not?
okay.
Sounds
Any final thoughts on like your state going into game two, or I don't know.
okay. So going into game one, I didn't actually. TJ brought up a point after I finished the game, and he was like, it was kind of weird for me to stall him because I was. Well, it was both of us we were late, so we shouldn't have. Well, I shouldn't have stalled him. I didn't really clock that until like halfway through the game was going on. I was like, oh shit, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I should. This is not a good time to be stalling, is it? Um, but yeah, basically my mental state was he's not going to risk me basically tiring him out of a game. So I was expecting hard offense, and the prep that I had done for Rexus was based around Tiamashana, so that I could really exploit any offenses using the trick room, setting up thingy majig. So that was
Oh,
the main
well,
thing that I was reading.
yeah. So when you say TR Mashana, that actually goes into the next game. But hey, I actually played through the entire replay on this. Isn't that cool? Uh,
Sweet.
I think this is the last turn here. Yep. Okay. Cryo dead and he forfeits because Costa dies to rocks. Okay. Game two, final game of circuit playoff. Spoilers. Yeah. So you pick up the trick room Mashana because you're like I want to anti-offense him. That was the main gist of that. Um,
Yeah, and
sorry, actually, like it doesn't have a crazy matchup. He's got a clef and a tort and a slash, maybe depending on the set. Like,
honestly, when I was looking at this game, I thought I had a really good matchup in this one. It was quite interesting to hear Specs analysis when he was recording it live, and he was in the call with I think it was like Telenet and
Tlenet, Tone,
TJ and
TJ, someone else with a
yeah,
T. It was all people with a T. That's what I
Tasker.
remember. Tasker, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because they thought I didn't have the matchup, but I guess they didn't know the sets that I had. So obviously I know that I'm Trace Bandit, Kangaskhan, and he doesn't really have a normal resist. That's quite a big thing. I also know that I'm AV Crab, so I can abuse Clefairy straight up with that. Um, there's loads of things in my favor that I was pretty happy with the matchup, especially if I got up Stealth Rocks. Like he really struggles if I get up Stealth Rocks to like well, if I'm on the pressuring end, he really struggles to answer my things. So I was like wary of his threats, but I was pretty confident. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think a critical like he has decent mons against you, and you have decent mons against him. Like Simisear is a condition; it doesn't just kill everything, but it's pretty scary. And on your side, like Crabominable doesn't just kill everything; it's pretty scary. But I think you have an easier time like facilitating your scary things getting in and pivoting in, whereas he's got like Clef and Polyrath and Torterra, and even to a certain extent, Alola Slash are low momentum mons. Um, Kanga, Primeape, Servine, even Mush to an extent, are all much better at pivoting around. I think that's really critical in this game. Rex's
yeah, I think
team strikes me as kind of odd. It's also very similar to I think TJ. Yeah, TJ kind of has a Polyrath team in exhibition that we hit briefly, but I like his more because critically, like he's kind of got an eel and a Vic and just like better pivots to not kind of make it dead weight. Feels kind of like a similar type thing with the Polyrath and the Oricorio and like the strong special breaker. But
Yeah,
Rex's is ungainly.
yeah. I basically figured that Clef was going to be the main liability for him, but Clef simultaneously is a liability, but he needs it for Mashana as well. So I was definitely eyeing up like getting Crab, getting Kanga in on the Clef, and then just pressuring his backbone to the point where Mashana wins. That was the game plan from like turn one.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
you'll notice he's not. He's fine versus Kanga. He's got a slash and a wrath and a tort. He's workable, but they're none of them are actually like real normal resists on the level of like I can just hit the Regirock button or the Mudstill button even is like a little bit more solid. Um, because
yeah, especially because
the chip damage that Kanga will give will really facilitate the other things like the Servine, the Primeape. So
yeah, I should explain as well that the reason why Kanga is choice banded as opposed to like a standard Figgy Berry set or Silk Scarf, whatever you want to use, is because this team gets utterly annihilated by Bronzor. And if it wasn't choice banded Crunch, I would lose to Bronzor. I would rather click X than play Bronzor, basically. But apart
that's
from it also doubles as a fantastic lure for
wait. I'm
Bronzor
sorry.
from
You
the
said choice
Mashana.
banded Sucker Punch.
Choice banded Crunch, sorry.
Crunch. Yeah. Okay. I was like, no. I'm not. I figured you had something else for it. Yeah. So
And
it's CB Kanga, it's Trick Room Masharna, it's like the fatter defog Servine, and the crab is remind me what's the crab?
Assault Vest.
AV
Fast
crab.
Assault Vest.
Yeah, yeah, because you got to have that ice resistance stuff. It's got to be AV. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of funkier things. I think we can go ahead and start the game. I think we just about covered all the things. Um, I do like a very early on. I'll go mush. I'll psychic into clef. Time to get at my rocks. It's a pretty
Yeah,
basic. Like,
that was also because I had to try and gauge whether the Clefairy was Fizdef or the Volterra was Spadef. I knew one was going to be the other,
mm,
the other. Does that make sense?
yeah, one is Fizdef, one is
One
Spadef.
was Yeah, but you didn't know. I didn't know which order. So the psychic there was just to gauge. Okay, the Clef is now Spadef. That means I
Yeah,
can just go Crab.
Psychic did
Can
27.
go be scary.
So you'll just set up rocks. Notably, it's T Wave Clef, which is not a bad set in general, but on this team, he would have really liked Toxic because my absolute biggest gripe with your team, which I didn't bring up because it doesn't matter for the game, you don't have a Toxic Absorber or anything that wants to take it. Um, that's that could have been really annoying. And then when it was T Wave Clef, I like noticed that's actually pretty important in my opinion. Like all I can do is
Yeah,
Moonblast into Crab. It's an AV Crab that does 30. That's not it doesn't matter.
yeah. I think. Well, how the team functions is more like an offense team. So it's. I guess it's like the definition of bulky offense. It's less weak to toxic spikes and like toxic Pokemon in general than you'd think, because generally games go quite quickly.
Yeah, that like
Um,
your counterplay is just killing them really fast and hoping that's all you have to do, which it definitely it works. You don't like that's not something you absolutely 100% always have to have, but it definitely
yeah,
could be a bit annoying. Was one of the
which
reasons
turns
I was
pro-
like Kanga not Stoutland is interesting. Although I guess you could just do Facade Kangaskhan too. That'd be funny. Um,
yeah,
but what we see really early is like that tort got real pressured by the mush. It's still at 100, but you just took away half the synthesises. The clef is
yeah.
almost
To be
dead.
honest,
The
that was
slash is at 50. Like Jesus.
yeah, that honestly, I think it was a misplay for me to just not go for the win right there and then, like not just trick room again and just keep psychicking him until he gives up, um, because that was like the room. Like I'd done what I needed to do. Like I'd what's it called? I'd chip the clef. I understand the Alola slash is the Scarfer, based on the fact that he isn't rocks. So I should have in theory just put the pressure on with Mush and then not been as scared of the end game
Mm.
because that's why I didn't end up going for it because I think um, Alolan and not Alolan, Primate was looking really good because it's Choice Scarf. I got
Yeah,
that as well, so I
yeah.
was thinking,
Scarf Ape with the clef already at 5%. And Oricorio's the switching. That's not bad. I will say, like, I don't. I think playing it safe is really fine. Going for the win when he's got 6 mons and you're already gonna like start ripping out the mush. Like, you have so many pressure tools. I don't think there's really a need to do that. Like, sometimes you'll see people not go for the win and then get reversed on for sure. Like, hell, I can just pull off the top of my head like me versus Lockjaw was a really silly game from exhibition. Um, but this is like so early to the point where I don't really think that's a big misplay. This is I don't think you really had any pressing need to go for the win immediately right there. That's all.
yeah, it was just I guess a brief like thought in my head where I was like, yo, I could go for the win here, and I was like, no, 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 that would be
Nah,
too disrespectful.
let's not.
That's not, yeah.
Yeah, and like you can see Rex is trying to do things. He gets a spin off and he gets the clef recovery, but it doesn't. It's not enough, especially since you pull out the CB Kanga and that just like does 48 to the Torterra and is gonna 2-hit KO it. And it's like, well, that's some shit right there. Like it's
Yeah, that's
just he doesn't
the
re
specific Kanga check there.
he'd be like he doesn't. Your things are stronger at killing him. I guess if he double flinched the mush there, if he flinched the mush after the crit at some point, that could have been real good for him. The thing is, like, your mons are stronger at breaking, and like maybe if he had a better pivot, it'd be okay. Because he still got like Simisear's a big threat.
Honestly, he played very well around my Kanga and Crab to the point where he didn't just instantly lose. Like
Yeah,
his defensive core didn't fold instantly.
he's doing what he
Very
can.
Yeah, like he played very well to make sure he didn't instantly lose to those two.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Because most players would have
he's not
under that pressure.
losing. He's not losing, but he's not winning either. He's doing very little damage, and what damage he's doing is still like you're clearly doing more. Simisear hasn't come in at all. Is really the critical thing. On turn 25, he's not gotten like the one thing that's really big offensive threat in. That's a problem. He doesn't. He's kind of stuck playing passively and slow switching around everything because, like I said, I really think the momentum issue is just real hard for him.
Yeah, and this is I think we can like talk about this because of previous Untier talks. We've talked about people being scared and bringing scared teams without offensive pressure. Um, this is precisely the opposite of that. This is like full out offensive pressure on everything. There isn't you're not
Your
going to get
team,
free setup versus
not his
yeah
team.
my team. Yeah, his team is a bit more scared, but it's quite a nice balance. It's like a fat team, a good fat team. Whereas my team is just straight out like um, everything has like a good stat to pressure people with.
And believe me, I know what it's like to bring a team that ends up like just losing in circuit playoffs. Not fun, but yeah, Rexus, if you want to support group, hit me up. Anyway, Slash dies, mushes in with a trick room. He can go clef, but that's a free crab. It's not good for him. This fucking sucks a lot. Brick Break Polyrath was funny though. People run all kinds of fighting moves on it because like it's what the fuck does Polyrath run? So I was glad to see him do Brick Break. I just thought it was funny, but it doesn't really matter. You're just killing him.
Yeah, I was convinced that he was going to be Focus Blast and that Crab was going to kill him with the AV or live on the AV.
Fair enough. Yeah.
On count, they live with the AV.
Here's Simisear turn 35 getting a kill. Too bad it's way too late because you don't need the switch in because at this point you can just like hit the Scarf 8 button.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping he was Specs just so I could keep Regirock for a bit longer and not really need to sack it, but I mean, I didn't really did so.
There is still a bit of an issue here where like Pom Pom is a genuine problem, and it is possible late game you could miss a Stone Edge and lose. But that's literally always going to be a factor with your team because it's got the one bird check, and that's the Reggie Rock, and Reggie Rock's not gonna stay around that long. So
Yeah.
that's
And
problematic.
Pom's got a good speed tier on this team as well. Like it outspeeds 5 out of the 6
Mhm.
mods. That's quite an important thing as well.
I didn't talk about it being a hard matchup because it's still kind of weird to think of it like that. Just because it won't be for most of the game. For most of the game, you're gonna have rocks up and be spamming offensive pressure. But then like late game, Pom Pom's kind of always gonna be annoying. But I think the critical thing is like at this point, there's still just not a lot he can do even with that. Servine is gonna hit buttons. Even if he switched Tord out, like it doesn't really change a lot. And you've got the late game Trick Room Mashana that's also just kind of critical. Um,
Yeah, and this is the type of thing that I think we've seen in the meta sort of change. It's much more that the slow Pokemon that can trick room on an instant, as well as provide defensive pressure, they become much better in this meta because if I was just a standard Carmine Mashana, there's no way any of this would have happened. Like
mm.
it would have been stopped a long, long time
Well,
ago.
you
So
wouldn't see a standard Calm Mind Fat Mashana on this kind of team. Like, so there's that.
potentially you could have
Eh.
because it's its only fighting check, but
But
um,
like you wouldn't run something that fat and silly. You would run something else on this team.
yeah,
Trick Room Mashana
specifically,
is good enough that it lets you run it on this kind of team. Is the thing.
yeah. I also specifically built around or getting it in with the CB Lurkanga, but yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty. I think probably it's its best set right now. Same with Trick Room Jellison. That's probably its best set right now,
Yeah,
just
I
because.
love Trick Room Mashana. And I will take full credit for coming up with that because I don't make many things, but sometimes when I make a thing, it doesn't suck.
Yeah, yeah, things don't suck sometimes.
Sometimes things don't suck. That's a life lesson from Untier Talk. I do want to pull up the Oricorio calc real quick because you do like Trick Room and Need to Kill with Shattered Psyche right there.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it was 56%.
yeah,
In my
which
my
was kind
build.
of awkward. I didn't really expect you to like let him get to that point where he could come in and you'd have to do something like that. But that happened. And yeah, with the +1 Spadef on Oricorio, if he was no HP, which I'm pretty sure he wasn't, then it definitely killed. But if he was more likely like a max HP, no Spadef set, um, then the Shattered Psyche roll was 68 to 81. He was at 76. That's not favorable. And we talked a lot about this game. How you had a lot of the pressure momentum and stuff. Uh, he still probably could have won this game. I mean,
Yeah, I think.
it probably comes out more to like a 50-50 when you like take into account all the hurricanes he has to hit as well. That's not a joke. That's just like yeah, but yeah, the simple fact of Pom Pom just being really goddamn annoying almost took it back for Rexus. But even with that, I guess it didn't really feel super close until that end, and that's kind of why we kept framing it like Hajad kind of does a thing and wins. Um, but yeah, probably in retrospect should have given that more credit and that like, oh hey, Rexus almost won right there. How about that?
Yeah, he did very well to keep me from just winning outright, like with all the pressure on him, and then also keep in mind an end game where he had a good chance of winning,
He had a
which was using this
fantastic
pom pom.
run, fantastic performance, fantastic year in PU really. So
Yeah,
good shit there. But you're a circuit champion. You got a ribbon on your profile. That's pretty cool, huh?
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I think, slowly but surely, I've been making it to circuit playoffs since like Oras, and I think my earliest memory of being in circuit playoffs was like me playing versus Man of Many, and then him bringing like some crazy bulk up seed bomb Ursaring to counter team Quagsire and Oras PU.
Yeah,
I remember being
yeah.
absolutely fuming after that series, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I've talked a lot about this being our second circuit playoff. It's the second one with a ribbon. Obviously, last year Katat was the winner. And for what it's worth, I thought it was really funny that I made semis but couldn't win. This year you won, so it's a good thing that we don't have a circuit next year because we can't top that at this point. Untier talk. Let's go Untier talk. But yeah, there was like an ORAS thing that didn't count for anything. Teddy
I
won,
think that was
right?
the one.
Or was it
I think it was
Dundee's?
Dundee's.
Yeah, no, it was Dundee's. Dundee's won like that one ORAS circuit we had. Yeah, and then he comes back every so often. He'll be like, "Give me a roll," and I go, "No." Um,
Yeah, we love Dundee's in this
no, it's a roll.
department.
It's a roll for ribbon winners. He didn't win a ribbon, so suck it. I'm just kidding. He would never listen to this anyway, so everything I say is meaningless. That's all the big stuff we wanted to hit. Uh, you can do a gimmick corner if you really want to. I think we're just like tired and running through the thing, so feel free to
Yeah,
not.
I
You're the champion. You can
yeah,
take a load off.
yeah, I literally don't have anything to shout out
Yeah,
for gimmick corner at least. I
fair
think
enough.
the CB Kanga will. I think that'll do because I've used the same Kanga set since fucking like alpha, the same style of set. And the one week I decided to change it up was the final, and it did some decent work. So
Mm.
shout out to that. Also shout out to there are a couple of like light bulb moments in this generation when I come back like and think about these things, um, where like I really improved as like a builder and player, and that was like when I managed Jari and having to like build with him and his specific style, and then also when I had to manage False, he had a very specific style. I think a lot of the teams that I built for False, like his identity and what he wanted from a team, like leaked into my style as well. Because if you think about it, that high pressure, many win con style of team that I brought versus Rexus in the last game, that's a team that False would bring 10 out of 10 weeks. So
So what
yeah, I
you're
think
saying
like
is you sucked for most of the gen until our like two really recent team tournaments. At which point you went, "Fuck! I guess I better get good to deal with these idiots and like manage them to good records." Jesus, look at these god awful
yeah,
players I ended up with. If I don't hard carry them, oh my god.
well, it wasn't like that. Like I think because those two players in specific, they have a really like a style towards them and a philosophy that they try to play towards. And it wasn't really that I considered building towards a certain philosophy or a certain mindset when you play Pokemon because like it seems overly I don't want to say overly simplistic, but when you build Pokemon, it's not just six Pokemon. Like it's a common goal that you have to try and get towards, and having I guess different approaches from different players that you learn off of, um, and also the meta being quite like it favors me quite heavily, being like quite fat and spikes heavy, black whitish. So yeah, shout outs to the meta and shout outs to those people, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Uh, I don't know. I don't have any grand retrospective statements. Sun Moon's been really fun. Weird to think I've been a tier leader for like 2 years now, but I'm happy where Pew's at and what it's done. We've had two circuits and they've been pretty cool. There won't be one next year because Pew is just going to take too long. There wouldn't be a real full circuit, but we'll be running tours. We'll be doing suspects. We'll be making this tier cool, and we'll be
Oh
back.
sweet! Does that mean I get to keep? Does that mean I get to keep a room for 2 years?
I don't know if it grays out or not, but presumably we'll all forget about it and it'll just stay non-grayed out. So I think so.
Sweet,
Maybe
sweet.
not. I don't know. Like
I'll take
you will technically be like the current champion until the end of 2021 because there won't have been
sweet.
anyway. Right now we're running like our old gen classic tournament. Might cover a bit of that. But for the most part, it's gonna be a little chill, and then March is gonna happen. March is coming, so yeah, that'll be a whole thing. But we'll be
Shout out
around
Specs as well.
chatting the shit. Shout out Specs and everyone else from PU really. But like you're doing a specific Specs thing for Circuit, I get it. But like shout out PU community in general.
Yeah,
Cool people.
yeah. I think me and Specs were. I guess we might as well advertise this now. Me and Specs were doing a Shadow Duel 1st of March when PU Alpha comes out.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so that's gonna be
Put it on the YouTubes. Y'all can watch it on Specs' channel in months from now, I guess. Anyway,
that'll be a great fun.
yeah, I think that just about covers it. Hajad needs to go sleep off his exams. I need to go do a million pieces of homework. So we'll chat with you guys hopefully next week. But at this rate, with what we've been doing, God, who knows? Plus, I gotta be a Frogger main when Frogger drops tomorrow. Smash Deals is gonna be Frogger, guys. I'm telling you. All right.
Well, they'll know by the time, isn't it?
Oh yeah. They'll know. All right. Point is, uh, this podcast is over, and this was just a long way of saying that ends happen.